Hey YouTube, welcome back to Russ's Retro Rides. This is part one of a part two video series where I will be showing how to prepare your cylinder heads and how to install an intake manifold on a Pontiac engine. The car that I'm going to be featuring for these two videos is my 1979 Solar Gold Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, also known as the Ruffed Grouse on Instagram. This engine came out of an early 1970s Firebird. I've run the numbers on a couple of the different engine components, and all of them fall within the years of 1970 and 1973. So it's right in that era when the Pontiac 350s started to go over to smog engines. But supposedly the guy that I bought the engine from had the cylinder heads milled and planed. So I might be getting some decent horsepower, decent compression out of this thing. I know stock for this particular engine, it was making about 150 horsepower, which is pretty pathetic, but you got to remember in 1979, the standard engine in the Pontiac Trans Am, the Oldsmobile 403, was making 185 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. So if I can make anything over 250 horsepower with this engine, I'm happy. But with that said, guys, let's get into part one of installing an intake manifold on a Pontiac engine. Alright, so what we've got to do today is remove the paint that I got on the cylinder head, so we get a really good seal between the cylinder head here and our intake that we're going to put on in the second part of this video. I've already plugged the intake ports with, I've got tissues in there, but any form of cloth will work. You don't want particles getting in the intake because you can possibly damage your engine. The exhaust ports are not as important because the stuff gets blown out. You can, if you decide to, plug your water jacket hole, but I didn't in this case because I'm going to be pushing away from it. But you're going to want a scraper. I've got a, I don't know what size scraper I've got here. Let's get into removing this paint. And you want your surface of your head to look very similar to that, so do that to your entire head and you should be all set. The more material you get off your cylinder head, the less of a chance you have to getting a possible air leak, which can in some applications result in your engine leaning out, and that is not a good thing. Bad things happen when an engine leans out, so just keep pushing the paint debris. This was my fault. When I was painting this, I didn't tape this off. Amateur mistake, but they do happen, so just learn from my mistake and don't do it on your engine build. Do your best to keep it away from any holes in the engine and take your time on it too. This is coming off really easy because I actually scraped this before I painted it. Go figure. I'm actually going to stick a tissue in that water jacket slot because I don't want crap getting in there. A vacuum would also be helpful if you can possibly have someone that would want to help you do this. But if you can't find a vacuum, the tissues will work okay. You also can lay your gasket over the top if your heads are painted and trace it out like I did here with the razor blade. That definitely helps cut down the amount of time you're gonna have to spend scraping. Or you could just not, paint your cylinder heads like I did. Alright, so I'm gonna keep working this paint away, and I will see you guys when I've got both sides done. Alright, so once you're satisfied with the amount of material that you've removed from the cylinder head, the last thing that you're gonna want to do before you actually end up putting on your gasket for your intake manifold is wipe it down with some alcohol. You're going to want to wipe it down with something like rubbing alcohol to remove any possible oils that are on there and to sort of help you feel for any leftover material or any more debris. So what I've got here is I'm going to use a white washcloth to show you guys. This looks sort of clean. I mean, there's rust and stuff there, but to the naked eye, this would look clean. But once you use some rubbing alcohol and a rag, a clean rag, to wipe down the surface. You're going to see how dirty it actually is. So let's do that real quick. For the sake of this video, I'm only using the driver's side cylinder head to show you guys what you should do, but you're going to want to do the same thing on the passenger side cylinder head. Got my rag soaked right here with rubbing alcohol, so let's just wipe the surface. Again, you're going to want to wipe away, so just keep on rubbing. Get as much of that material off as you can. Look at how much has already come off. Now, you might have to reapply the rubbing alcohol a few times because the stuff does evaporate pretty quickly. But it removes, I mean, look at that, just pulling the stuff right off. So we'll put some more on and keep on scrubbing. And when you're doing this, it's best to wipe this down right before you're going to put the gaskets on, because if you remove the oils from the cylinder head and you let the cylinder head sit with the exposed metal, you could run into the issue of possibly getting rust, and if you let it sit long enough, you could pit the actual cylinder head metal, which will require some machining if the rust gets too bad. So, all right, so just like that, I mean, you guys can see that. I mean, look at how much stuff came off of that thing. It's disgusting. But that's how you ensure that those tiny particles don't end up in the combustion chamber or clog in a oil port or something in the engine that could possibly cause the engine to self-destruct. So I'm satisfied with that. All right, so you made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out today's video. I hope it really helped you guys out with your current projects. Even if you don't have a Pontiac engine in your car, the tips and tricks that I gave you guys today are still going to apply. The biggest thing you probably want to take out of today's video is have some patience when you're doing it. It is very important to make sure that there's very little material between the cylinder head, the gasket, and the intake manifold. And I stress this because some of you guys will probably be like, it's not that big of a deal, but the smallest hole can create a vacuum leak, and it can lean out your engine, and you can be driving down the road and boom, your engine just blows up because it leans out. So take the extra 5 seconds to go over your cylinder heads a few extra times and just make sure that they're really, really clean, because you don't want to be replacing these after you get your engine all back together, especially if it's a fresh rebuild. But with that said, guys, tune in to next week's video where I show you how to install the intake manifold on a Pontiac engine. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.